Hi, my name is Ruth, and for this assignment today, I wanted to look at sustainability in my life and my job, which is working at a veterinary hospital. I'm mainly focused on our Module 5 learning outcome number 3, demonstrating sustainable development goals and applying them to and incorporating them into my work. The Veterinary Sustainability Alliance did pose kind of this breakdown of how their goals coincided with the SDGs. I'm mainly focusing on the bottom right-hand corner there, focusing on waste and clean water. Some sustainable practices I've noticed in my clinic and in others is accessibility to public transport, also encouraging the decrease in energy usage. I know they're mainly coming from an economic standpoint, but it is encouraging that we are, powering down plug loads, making sure that everything's shut off at night. That is good from an environmental standpoint, as well as reusable cleaning bottles, secondhand towels, mop pads, environmentally friendly cleaning products. We also dilute all of our products, which also helps with making them last longer, as well as decreasing their chemical strength. Unsustainable factors that stood out to me is our heavy reliance on fossil fuels. Me and many of my coworkers are commuters. We also drive gas-powered vehicles, often one occupant. Also our high energy consumption. As a medical practice, we are using a large amount of equipment daily that can be using quite a lot of energy, as well as constantly running heating, cooling systems, etc. I would also say waste management is always going to be a large issue, especially when considering the overlap of agricultural laboratories and pharmaceutical waste, if we're talking about chemicals, hazardous materials, things like that. And then we're also talking about a large amount of water usage. Considering the autoclave, even like just faucets, toilet systems. I would say a big issue in a lot of veterinary clinics is the fact that they're often older buildings. The infrastructure is not updated. They are not efficient whatsoever. I would also just say an overall lack of protocols encouraging sustainable practices. They're definitely not in place in many clinics, especially not in mine. Ways to begin considering improving sustainability in my practice would be mainly focusing on energy and waste and water. So the three main issues that I mentioned earlier. So let's talk about thermal regulation. We can consider manual or seasonally adjusted thermostats, implementing blinds, tinted windows, anything to just kind of maintain an equilibrium where we're not having to use these heating and cooling systems as often. Also renewable or solar energy options. It would depend on the area, location, building, all of that, but I would say that's definitely a good option to consider. We're also, we can talk about flow regulators on faucets, low flow toilets, implementing solutions like that. I would also say a big thing would be eco-friendly autoclaves and updating the infrastructure I mentioned earlier. These autoclave updates can decrease tempering water sterilizer consumption by 90%, and they do have the potential to save over 60,000 gallons of water per year. And also recycling efforts, as simple as that sounds, many practices are not implementing this as much as they should. I don't believe any of my practices that I have worked at have recycling bins. So for the waste management solutions, I would say implementing reusable sharps containers is a good option. When you're considering vaccines, injections, blood draws, fluids, everything, you're definitely going through a large amount of sharps disposal containers, especially considering just proper waste disposal. We can also talk about proper waste disposal incentives, green cleaning procedures, eco-friendly surgical packs, decreasing use of compounds like cotton that are not biodegradable. We could also avoid drawing up medication or injections prior to the patient coming back, depending on their weight or the exam. Sometimes we end up having to dispose of that medication, and that is definitely a waste. I would also say considering environmentally friendly anesthesia options is an option that many clinics could definitely at least consider as a solution. General anesthesia is definitely the common one, but there's also intravenous and regional anesthesia that could be a more sustainable option. And then also just considering the life cycle of products. There's definitely a give and take in the veterinary field. A lot of clinics work together to kind of share products and go back and forth. But I would definitely say we could probably encourage that, or even consider things like donation. So for the SDGs in practice or veterinary practice, the SDGs are a positive framework to consider change in our personal lives and work. Individual and group behavior changes in veterinary medicine can lead to all of our behaviors being more sustainable. This definitely ties back into Klein's message regarding collective action and how all of our work together can lead to a more sustainable future.